Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 22, my team career mode for the Mexican Grand Prix today. We have just 4 rounds to go in this championship and things are getting very close between myself and Max Verstappen, with Charles Leclerc well in the fight as well. After practice we purchased a brake upgrade. No Pirelli hot lap this time. I lost the file for that somehow. Not exactly sure how that one happened. But anyway, there is the R&D chart heading into this one. Ferrari have the best car still ahead of us, and Red Bull third fastest on the R&D chart. But anyway, we skip on straight to the end of Q1. We did 2 laps on the same set of tyres in 2 separate runs. We went faster on the second run. But that was, effectively on the 5th lap on those tyres, and we went 12th fastest, so we have plenty more time in the car. So yeah, we should be able to do much better than that. But look at down in the bottom 6, Sergio Perez got knocked out at his home race. So it is very unfortunate for Red Bull, and he will need to put on quite the comeback drive if he wants to recover anything from this weekend. We move on then into Q2, and we'll see if we can do a little better in this session as we work our way through the final sector of our first flying lap. A little bit off circuit there, but we're not going to worry about that too much as we round the final corner towards the finish line to complete our first flying lap on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres, and we go P8 on that set of tyres. So we'll stick another new set of tyres because I'm not sure that would be good enough to get us into Q2, into Q3 rather, and we go again. But unfortunately, after setting a purple first sector, the middle sector was no good at all, and the final sector also no good, and we just continue to lose time to our first lap, and there will be no improvement to be found here. But we remain in P8, so no one improved throughout the rest of that session. Everyone stayed where they were, and we get through on the strength of our first lap. Though strangely, we improved by 1,000th. From screen to screen. I don't know how that happened. I have seen it happen before where the numbers vary by 1,000th from one from in the session to this screen. Not sure why it happens. Maybe just like a number rounding thing, but anyway, who knows. But yeah, that is strange. Oscar Piastri gets knocked out in this session down in P12. Kevin Magnussen in the Williams gets through into Q3. Mega effort from him there. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. But I also didn't note that I believe it was George Russell in the Mercedes got knocked out in Q1 as well. So it's another big name that we won't be seeing in Q3. So yeah, there were actually 2 big names that were knocked out in Q1. I was too busy focused on Sergio Perez, but yeah, George Russell as well was knocked out. The Mercedes car actually isn't that good anymore, as they've really let it slip in terms of R&D. But anyway, we march our way through our one and only lap in Q3. We made a bit of a mess of the middle sector, so hopefully we can pull it back a little bit in the final sector. Missed the apex there as we head into the stadium section, so hopefully we can tidy it up through the rest of it. And this final corner I've really been struggling with, and again we probably don't get the best run through there, but we'll see what the overall time is. We go P8. That seems to be around about where we are this weekend, so I guess we'll take it.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. Leclerc, Ricciardo and Lando Norris. With qualifying complete, all that remains now is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Max Verstappen, our main championship rival, will be a few positions ahead of us though, so yeah, it's going to be a little mission to chase him down throughout the course of this race. He is just 1 point behind us in the championship standings. Charles Leclerc a little further back, but he is on pole, so it's his time to shine here at the Mexican Grand Prix. Let's see what he can do. Let's get into it.
It's time then for the Mexico City Grand Prix, a race which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther winning from 3rd on the grid. Red Bull have been strong here in recent seasons, but can they keep that record going today? Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Stroll, the Scientist, and Magnussen. Mick Schumacher, Ricciardo, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Gasly, and Max Verstappen. Sainz, Ocon, they've taken a grid penalty. Guan Yu Zhou and Oscar Piastri. Tsunoda, Schwartzman, Alex Albon and Sergio Perez. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ticktum, Russell, Latifi and Jehan Deruvala. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Alrighty, we will try our best to do so. But this is going to be a tricky one. Full wet conditions here for the start of the race, the first maybe 10 minutes or so. It is then going to change to intermediate conditions for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then it's going to dry up. So... and remain that way and gradually get sunnier for the rest of the race. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out, but yeah, I've set the difficulty to the sort of middle ground between where I would between wet and dry. As I've said in the past, I really struggle in the wet conditions, so yeah, I'm expecting the launch off the line to be good, as it was in Paul Ricard for us. Might gain a few positions potentially, then in, the first half of the race might be a struggle, and we might come back strong in the end. So it's going to be an interesting one. Everyone starting on the wet compound tyres. It's lights out and away we go for the Mexico City Grand Prix. And it's been a decent enough start for us. And we're going to see if we can make our way to the left and maybe gain some positions around the outside. Everyone crowding to the inside line here. And we may be able to make the move here around the outside, late on the brakes, and we have made the move all the way around the outside into the race lead here in Mexico. That is huge for us. If we can hold on to this even just for a lap or two, that is going to make our life significantly easier, because now we have the benefit of being able to see where we are going, and that might just make all the difference. But we'll see how it plays out. But we've made the critical start and found ourselves now in clear air. But yeah, we need to get these tyres up to temperature, especially the fronts are very difficult to get up to running temperature. The rears are easy, you just floor it and they're up to temperature on the warm-up lap. But the front tyres are very difficult. But as we continue to push on, you can see really struggling through the final corner. We almost end up in the pit lane with the oversteer there, and we get absolutely swamped at the end of the first lap. And that is about how long we could hold on to the lead for. Here comes Lance Stroll, ducking out of the slipstream now to the outside, and we let him go there. There's no point having an argument as we head into the first corner, and the spray is so horrendous. You can hardly see where we are going at the moment at the start of the second lap of the race. But as I said,
Tyre condition still looking good.
once the conditions dry up, that is when we will start to find our way back through the field. So we just have to be patient, survive this opening phase of the
Rain's
race.
getting lighter now, but it's going to take a while for the track to dry out. Full wet seemed like the best tyre for now.
And wow, the rain already getting lighter, so maybe that change to the lighter rain coming even earlier than what the weather indicator suggested, which suits me just fine. We'll see. So we'll continue to push on, and you can see almost ending up in the pit lane again
Come on, you can win that place back.
as Carlos Sainz
No
gets
need to
past
worry
us.
about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
But anyway,
The rain's getting lighter now, but it's going to take a while for the track to dry out. Okay, full wet seems to be the fastest tyre for now.
we make the re-overtaking move back around the outside of the Ferrari and move ourselves back up and into 6th position. But yeah, we're really not having a great time in these wet conditions at the moment. And as we work our way through the middle sector, a big loser the rear end there, and Carlos Sainz is able to get around the outside, and there's no competition there. He's through. We're down into P7 now, and looking rearwards towards Daniel Ricciardo and Mick Schumacher, who are now putting the pressure on Ricciardo around the outside there, but will just about be able to hold him off through the stadium section. Very hard to make an overtake in this part of the circuit, and yeah, we're able to hold him off for the time being. But yeah, there he goes. So as soon as we get to that final corner, we just don't have the traction there.
Keep on him, he might make a mistake.
But maybe the slipstream here will give us an opportunity. To the outside we go, and we may be able to carry the speed here. This first sort of chicane section, turns 1, 2 and 3, we're really strong through here, and despite having a little bit of a swapper on the exits, we do get a good run through there. And now fighting up towards turns 4 and 5, we should be able to get the run through here, and we do. And we make the move back on Daniel Ricciardo, move ourselves back ahead of the McLaren, and we have to cover him off a little bit, but we maintain the position for a little bit longer, and we stay in P7 for now. But yeah, we are losing a lot of time to Carlos Sainz in the group ahead, so I don't know if all this fighting is really worth it overall, but we'll see how it goes, I guess, as we continue to almost put ourselves into the pit lane. But Daniel Ricciardo again with a good run out of the final corner, ducking to the inside to head down towards the first corner once again. Here he comes. Is he going to be able to make the move at this time, or is he too far back? We give him the space, but he's not so close enough, as we briefly pause the game there mid-battle. But that was a moment for you. That was about 10 minutes for me, where the game was paused. So now I'm out of a rhythm, and now Daniel Ricciardo has made the move as we shoot down the inside, a little bit deep though, into turns 4 and 5. And a bit of a swapper mid-corner sends us over the grass, now wide. Daniel Ricciardo back down the inside into this double apex hairpin, and he's got the move done there, I think, unless we can make the move down the inside into this awkward little left-hander here. It's going to be awkward to go side by side through here. We go deep, and I think Daniel Ricciardo might have this one unless we can continue to run side by side. We're going to have to go late on the brakes here, and we'll just about hold on to the position. This fight's getting very scrappy here, but we will just about hold on to the position, although Mick Schumacher now getting through as we go for the lunge down the inside into the stadium section, and we'll hold on to the position just about ahead of Mick Schumacher. But yeah, you can see we very clearly do not have the pace of these cars behind us. We're doing everything we can to hold on to this position. But as I said, I don't know if this fighting's worth it, or if we should just be trying to run the fastest race we can. But we're doing it now, and I guess we'll see if we pay the price for it later. But as we continue to push on,
we can take you this lap.
I think Ricciardo got a bit of front wing damage in that battle, because he actually made a pit stop.
Oscar is into the pit lane. Oscar in the pits.
A little earlier, but anyway, we come into the pit lane finally for a set of the intermediate compound. and that was a bit of a slow stop there, as we had to wait for some other cars to go past, and we also had a slow corner change as well on the front left.
There seems to have been a problem attaching the left front wheel. We need to try and put that behind us though and finish this race strong. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
So yeah, we'll need to push on from that, and yeah, just focus on yeah, getting these lost places back. But as we continue to push on through the race, that doesn't really happen. We don't quite have the pace even in these conditions. We were definitely better than in the full wets, but we're still under fire from the cars behind, although to be fair, it is Sergio Perez in the Red Bull, so we are expecting that to be a very quick car in this race, and we of course are expecting Sergio Perez to be making a comeback in this race. We hold him off for the time being, and Sergio Perez will need to try harder than that, although he gets a great exit out of turn 3, gets the move done. We see if we can make the move down the inside into turn 4, and we make the move stick on Sergio Perez, and we'll hold him off for the time being. Once again up ahead of Sergio Perez, although as we continue to push on, he's right on us once again as we head down into the first corner. Sergio Perez now around the outside this time, and I think maybe this time we might give this one up, as he's around the outside, and yeah, we can't fight it this time. Sergio Perez is through, and yeah, he's got the position. There's no way we can make the dive from this far back, and he's through into P9. Meanwhile, that is Mick Schumacher out of the race with a mechanical failure. Shame for him, he was actually running a pretty strong race up until this point, so that's unfortunate for the Haas driver.
No threat of rain for the time being, conditions look good. Inters look like the best tyre for now.
But anyway, as Sergio Perez continues to push on, he caught up to Pierre Gasly, and that's sort of kept me within range of Sergio Perez, because he couldn't get past Pierre Gasly for a little while, and especially in these conditions with no DRS enabled, made things very difficult for the Mexican to make overtakes. So yeah, that definitely helped me out in keeping up with the Red Bull. So yeah, that was one good thing to come from these conditions. Sort of slowed down his progress.
Is clear. Weather is looking good for now.
Which,
okay, not sure whether dries or inters are faster. We're right on the crossover.
Means
okay, information on Verstappen. They've got an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Verstappen with an issue. Hold that thought. Max Verstappen has a mechanical issue with his car. We saw what that did for George Russell in the previous race. He lost a lot of time. Max Verstappen already down a little bit in this race. He's still up near the front, but that could have a negative impact on his race. We'll see how it goes, but we'll continue to push on. But as we now head towards the dry conditions in this race, we'll see how these medium tyres that we'll be going on to will go. But yeah, what was I saying? As we head onto the dry compound tyres, it'll be interesting to see how our pace
Oscar's coming in for his stop now. Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that.
Goes. But because Gasly was holding up Sergio Perez for so long there, that's effectively brought us closer to Perez in the grand scheme of things in this race, and given us a chance to fight with him in the overall positions by the end. So that's quite fortunate for us in that way. So yeah, we'll see if we can catch up to Perez once again.
Magnussen's ahead of you.
Magnussen is running out of sync. To be fair, he's still actually running in a pretty good position overall, as our outlap was actually really bad, to be honest, and Schwartzman had a go at us down the inside into turn 1, and he didn't quite get the move done. He had a good go at it though, but we were able to hold off
Okay, so the car ahead's come in and fitted the soft tyre.
the Haas driver, but we remain in what became 9th position as we continue to push on. Though the fight up ahead between Sergio and Gasly started to heat up. Perez got the move done and then ran a little bit too deep down the inside. Gasly got him back, so that sort of fighting is going to bring us closer to the battle, and you can see now we are just chipping away at the two of them fighting away. They're both on the soft compound tyres, so everyone has another stop to make before the end. We can't get to the end on mediums from here, so we don't really have an advantage in that way, but we will have 2 more evenly split stints as Perez goes for the double move. He doesn't just get Gasly, now he's fighting away with Esteban Ocon as well, and he grabs him too. So Sergio Perez double overtake there. Gasly and Ocon 2-for-1 deal down at the first chicane, and Perez will take that, and the home fans will be very happy with that one. We go around the outside of Esteban Ocon through the stadium section, so Ocon is not having a great time of things. We go for the big lunge on Pierre Gasly into the first corner, and those two are really lacking pace in this phase of the race, the 2 Frenchmen, and we get past both of them. Their soft tyres, or the soft tyres for Gasly, fading away. Ocon on mediums as Carlos Sainz retires from the race with a mechanical failure, so it's unfortunate for him, and he won't take any further part in this one. So yeah, we'll see him next round. But anyway, we eventually catch up to Sergio Perez, and he was getting away from us at the start of this stint, but once his soft tyre started falling away, we closed up again. But as soon as we caught up to him, he pulled into the pit lane to put medium tyres on that he will run for the rest of the race. So we catch up to Lance Stroll instead, make the move on him, nice and easy, and we get the move done.
Nice overtake.
And that brings us up into the top 5.
It's Verstappen ahead.
And Max Verstappen sits in 4th place as now Pierre Gasly retires from the race. They're dropping like flies in this one. So yeah, Pierre Gasly now out, so it's unfortunate for him too, and yeah, he is now out of this one. So yeah, it's now time for us to come into the pit lane for our next set of medium compound tyres. These ones will take us to the end of the race, and yeah, we'll see if we can do anything on these. I did consider taking my current tyres to the end of the race. They maybe would have been able to make it, but we were already struggling for pace by the end of that stint, and there would have been no real benefit to it. Sergio Perez does get the undercut on us, but we should be able to get him back on the fresher medium compound tyres pretty easily, I think. So we'll see how it goes. We do have the faster base car anyway at this point of the season, so we'll see how it goes.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
So yeah, as we continue to push on, 24 laps to go in the race. Sergio Perez is our next target as we sit to P7 in this race.
Okay, the gap behind is 27.6 seconds.
P6 now as Lance Stroll comes in to the pits for his final stop. Yellow flag up ahead, and that is for Jane Derouvler, as he was going a lap down to Lewis Hamilton, and he plows into the back of the Mercedes driver and knocks his front wing off, and then pulls off to the side of the road, and that is his day done. Jane Derouvler deciding there's too much damage to the car, couldn't bring it back to the pit lane, so I don't know if he tweaked his suspension there or steering or some other damage, but yeah, Jane Derouvler obviously deciding that it wasn't worth bringing the car around for an entire lap to get it fixed up, and decided to just pull it off there next to the little opening in the fence barriers there, and yeah, that was it. His day is done. No safety car, and we race on. We make the move very aggressively there on Sergio Perez. We are still struggling out of the final corner, not as badly as we were in the rain, but it does mean that when we make moves into the first corner, they are rather aggressive, but it was fair enough. Meanwhile, up the road, this is the battle for second position. Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc going for the move down the inside of Max Verstappen. Late on the brakes goes Charles Leclerc, and Max Verstappen has no fight back for that. And Charles Leclerc gets the move done. The Ferrari looking strong here. Max Verstappen was on the soft to medium strategy. Charles Leclerc was on the medium to medium strategy, so he has the newer tyres on the car at the moment. Lando Norris is actually the race leader at the moment. He was on the soft to medium strategy as well, so Leclerc was basically undercut by these two around him, but he's on the newer tyres at the moment and has the strongest pace by far, so it'd be interesting to see if he can chase down Lando Norris at this point in the race. It is looking good for Charles Leclerc, it has to be said. But yeah, we continue to push on. We put a lap on Kevin Magnussen. He's looking good in this race too, not in the points, but it'll be a great result for Williams nonetheless, as Charles Leclerc does get past Lando Norris. Pretty easy move along the straight there for Charles Leclerc, and Lando Norris slots into second position, though Max Verstappen hasn't really gone with Charles Leclerc, so I'm not sure if Verstappen has what it takes to take it to these front two. So he may be consigned to third position here for Max Verstappen, but we'll see how it goes. But Charles Leclerc has control of the field here in Mexico, and things are all going his way at the moment. So that is fantastic for his championship, and in the overall standings, it's going to make things very, very interesting, it has to be said, as we head into the final few rounds. So we continue on, we go for the lunge down the inside of Lewis Hamilton. This is a critical overtake because with our fastest lap point, this brings us right up behind Max Verstappen in terms of the overall point standings, and where this puts us theoretically as well. I think we were 1 point behind, 1 point ahead of Max Verstappen coming into this round, and now theoretically I think we're 1 point behind him if things finish where they are, as we made that move on Hamilton. So yeah, as we continue to push on, we really gave it all to try and catch Verstappen, but I think we burnt up our tyres trying to close up that margin to Hamilton. It was a big gap, we were able to do it, but yeah, there was no catching Verstappen. He just had too much pace for us. As we continued to push on, we had a bit of a clumsy spin, and right in front of our teammate, so he saw that, unfortunately. But anyway, we will move on from that. It was relatively inconsequential. Hamilton caught up to us, had to go at us down the inside, and actually got ahead of us, but we were able to maintain the position around the outside, and yeah, that was about as close as he got to getting back past, and we were able to hold him off. So we continue to push on then to the end of the penultimate lap of the race, and Hamilton really sort of dropped away from us once again at this point. So I don't know, I think maybe he got damage in that little battle, I'm not sure, but yeah, he was not
this is your final lap of the race.
A threat from that point onwards. So yeah, as we begin the final lap of the race, putting two wheels on the grass there on the way down towards the first corner for the final time. We have no threat from behind, and we can just push on to the end. We have a big wobble there on the exit of turn 3. Hamilton's nowhere to be seen, so yeah, I don't know if
gap to the car in front is 21.7
I mean, maybe that's just how
seconds.
much DRS was helping him, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm assuming he must have got damage in that little scrap we had earlier, but whatever it was, he was no challenge. But this man certainly was. Charles Leclerc comes around the final corner to win the Mexican Grand Prix. Great drive from Charles Leclerc, fantastic stuff. And his championship is now well on track. Be interesting to see how many points he has at the end of this one, as we now come around the final corner to take a P4. That's not a bad result.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
We will miss out on our sponsor bonus for the first time. We don't get a podium, but oh well, George Russell gets the driver of the day.
And here's our winner, pulling their Ferrari into Parc Fermé after a fantastic race. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
So Charles Leclerc takes race victory here in Mexico. Second place goes to Lando Norris with Max Verstappen in third.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Max Verstappen's excellent result today sees him take over as the new leader of the Drivers' Championship. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
But there's no question in my mind, it has to go to George Russell. What a performance. He's got every right to be proud of what he accomplished out there today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Alrighty then, well, what is there to say about everything that happened there? As always, we had no pace in the rain, but yeah, once things dried up, we were able to fight back, which was good. That was more or less how I hoped the race would play out. I did hope we could get on the podium, but we came about as close as we could, so yeah. I mean, without the spin we would have been closer, but ultimately I don't think we really had the pace to catch those top three. They were just too quick. But anyway, yeah. Looking at the top 10 then, we had Charles Leclerc ahead of Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, myself ahead of Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez recovered all the way to P6, great result for him, Lance Stroll, George Russell, Daniel Ricciardo and Esteban Ocon rounding out the top 10. Unfortunately, Oscar Piastri just misses out on points in 11th position. In terms of the driver standings then, that's the championship we've been focused on throughout the course of the season. We sit in second position at just 1 point, as I said, behind Max Verstappen, 194 points versus 193, and Charles Leclerc now just 11 points off the championship lead on 183 points. Nothing in it between the lot of us, so yeah, it really could go any way. And with Ferrari's pace recently, Leclerc is looking very good. And in the Teams Championship, Ferrari now have a 33-point lead over Red Bull, and we are 100 points adrift. So I think we're well and truly out of the picture there, unless we really start putting in some stronger performances as a team. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty much out of the question. But definitely Red Bull still in the fight there. But yeah. Overall, a decent enough race. We kept ourselves in the fight in the championship, so yeah, that's about all we can hope for in a mixed conditions race. So on to the next one, and hopefully we can maybe if luck goes our way, take the lead and maybe extend our margin. But we'll see. Anyway, we get our acclaim rolling on in. Then we should level up to level 21 team acclaim here. Not quite, okay, but close. Yeah, we missed out on that sponsor objective, and yeah, we of course don't get a lot of money then from that race. We've only got 4.9 million in the bank after that one, but anyway, that might be enough to do something, we'll see. But there we have it. We get an upgrade to the car straight away as we get back to the HQ, which is always nice. We get an upgrade to the fuel technology efficiency, so that's nice. In terms of the activity timeline, we'll do the simulator training for Piastri's focus and experience. And not that this really matters, but actually just did an extra race on the 3rd gearbox. We were meant to switch to the 4th one for this race, but yeah, it was obviously just fine. It's not even barely worn out at all. Our sponsorship contract with Alkenes has ended, so once again we're going to replace our sponsor, and we're going to go with Pacifico. Their objective is to achieve and hold first place for 4 laps. I believe we can do that. And now we go through the timeline then,
Our new parts are completed without issue. They'll be on the car, ready for the next race weekend.
Arrive at the next race weekend at Portimao, Portugal. A new track on the calendar, or another, I guess, like one of those non official circuits, I suppose. I don't know what you call it. Another one that isn't on the regular calendar of 2022, like Shanghai, that I've added in. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. I'm looking forward to it. I do enjoy this track, especially that last corner. It is very satisfying. But anyway, that is all for this one, so I'll say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It is always very helpful. Other than that, I will see you next time, and goodbye.